All right, a new AI model just dropped, and it is making some serious waves in the developer world. It's called Kimi 2.5. It's from a company called Moonshot AI, and it's a state-of-the-art open source model that has some, well, seriously impressive skills. But here's the real question, the one on everybody's mind. Is Kimi K2.5 actually the best open source AI ever built? Well, we are about to put that claim to the test. We're going to compare it head-to-head with the giants. We're talking GPT, Claude, and Gemini, to find out if the hype is actually real. So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll meet the new challenger. Then we'll get into its killer features. After that, we'll put it in the ring with the titans, check out the benchmark showdown, talk about the catch, because there's always a catch, and then we'll give you our final verdict. Okay, so let's meet the new challenger. Look, Kimi 2.5 isn't just another small update. The people who made it are positioning this as a major leap forward, especially for open source AI. So what are we looking at here? Honestly, this thing is a beast of a model. Kimi K2.5 is built on what's called a mixture of experts architecture. You might see it called MO. It has a staggering 1 trillion total parameters. You can think of those as all the little knobs the AI can turn to learn and think. And get this, it was trained on 15 times trillion tokens of text and visual data. That's a massive, massive library of information. But the most crucial part? It's open source. Moonshot AI is putting this frontier-level power right into the hands of developers everywhere. So what is it that actually makes Kimi K2.5 different from everything else that's already out there? Well, it really comes down to a few pretty game-changing capabilities. First up is its native multimodality. This just means it was built from the ground up to understand images and video. It's not just some feature they tacked on later. Second, its coding with vision feature is, well, it's kind of incredible. It can literally look at a screenshot or even a video of a website and just generate the code for it. But the real headline grabber, the thing everyone's talking about, is the agent swarm. Okay, now this is where things get really, really interesting. The agent swarm, it's a totally different way of thinking. Instead of one AI trying to do everything one step at a time, Kimi autonomously breaks a big problem down into smaller pieces, creates up to 100 specialized sub-agents, and then has them all work on their part of the puzzle at the exact same time. This is a fundamental shift. We're moving from a single assistant to an entire AI workforce. So the whole workflow is run by this orchestrator agent that pretty much acts like a project manager. It figures out the task, it spawns all the little sub-agents, and then it just lets them all go to work in parallel. The results? You can get things done up to 4.5 times faster on really complex tasks. It's not just about being faster, it's about working smarter. All right, now for the main event. How does Kimi Q2.5 actually stack up against the reigning champs from OpenAI, Anthropic, and Google? Let's find out. You know, at a high level, you can really see their different philosophies. Kimi is just laser-focused on these agentic workflows and turning visuals into code. GPT and Gemini, they're the powerful generalists with these huge ecosystems built around them. And then you have Claude, which is the specialist for elite, deep reasoning, and super complex coding. And diving a little deeper, you can see how this all plays out in the real world. Kimi's big strength is, without a doubt, its agent swarms and vision to code stuff. But its ecosystem is still really young, and trying to host it yourself is a huge challenge. That makes it perfect for, say, front-end developers and AI researchers. On the other hand, GPT's plugin ecosystem is just unmatched, making it great for generalists. Claude is still king for back-end developers who need that deep reasoning power, while Gemini's native multimodality and speed really appeal to creators. Okay, so that's the feel of it, but what does the hard data say? I mean, real-world tests are crucial, but benchmarks give us that standardized look at the raw horsepower under the hood. And check this out. In agentic tasks, which measure things like complex web browsing, Kimi K2.5, using its swarm mode, isn't just competitive, it is absolutely dominant. It scores a 78.4 on the Browse Comp benchmark, leaving the others way, way behind. This is exactly where that parallel processing really gets to shine. Now, let's look at coding. On the gold standard SWE bench, yeah, Claude and GPT still hold the top spots, but just look at how close Kimi is. At 76.8, it is extremely competitive, and it's easily the strongest open source coding model that exists today. And finally, let's talk vision. On the long video benchmark, which tests how well a model understands long video clips, Kimi takes the lead again. This just proves that its native multimodality isn't just a marketing buzzword. It really does deliver top-tier performance. So Kimi is powerful, and on some benchmarks, yeah, it's the best. But here's the thing, no model is perfect. So it's time for a little reality check on the trade-offs, because all this power comes with some pretty significant catches. The single biggest barrier to entry is this number right here, 632 gigabytes. That is the amount of VRAM, video memory, you need to load and run the full, most powerful version of this model on your own computers. For most people, and even a lot of companies, that is just completely out of reach. And this comment from Reddit just captures the feeling in the community perfectly. A user called the Code Assassin points out that the officially supported hardware is a server with 8 NVIDIA H200 GPUs. Then they add, my God, that's a house right there. And you know what? They are not wrong. On top of the insane hardware cost, the early adopters who are able to self-host it have been reporting some teething issues. Things like random quote content responses or weird formatting markers leaking into the output. It's just a good reminder that the open source ecosystem is still growing up around this very new model. But, and this is a huge but, here's the massive upside. If you don't self-host and you use the API instead, Kimi K2.5 is dramatically cheaper. We're talking 50 cents per million input tokens, compared to $15 for Claude Opus. For developers building apps on top of this, that cost difference is an absolute game changer. So we've seen the power, we've seen the benchmarks, and we've seen the trade-offs. Let's pull all of this together and give a final verdict. Which model is the right one for you? Okay, so here's our breakdown. If you are a front-end developer, Kimi's ability to turn visuals into code is an absolute must-try. It could save you so many hours. For large-scale research and automation, its agent swarm is really in a class of its own. But for that elite back-end coding and deep enterprise-level thinking, Claude 4.5 Opus is still the one to beat. And look, if you just need a powerful, robust, do-everything tool, GBT's massive ecosystem is still really hard to beat. And this quote from the AIM network really frames the bigger picture here. Kimi K2.5 isn't just another chatbot. It is a powerful signal that the era of simple back-and-forth AI is ending, and the era of the autonomous, proactive AI agent has truly begun. Which really leaves us with one final thought. With tools that can basically spawn an entire workforce of AI agents with a single command, the role of the developer is fundamentally changing. The question is no longer just, can you write code, but can you conduct a symphony? So are you ready to become an AI architect?